Hey guys, welcome back to Telltale. I'm Emily.
I'm great.
And we are going to be going through another in the Dangerous Vision series that we're doing, which is Collected Works by Harlan and Ellison. And this one is A Toy for Juliette by Robert Bloch.
Mm-hmm. Now, the situation with this story is Robert Bloch had way back in the 1940s written a short story called Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper. And it was the first story that made him fairly famous. It was adapted for TV shows, and he became pretty well known before Hitchcock made Psycho. And
yeah.
Then Psycho became the only thing anybody remembers him for. But he was well known for that early story, and Harlan Ellison really loved his work and wanted to collaborate with him. Ellison collaborated with a lot of the older science fiction authors through his career, and so he wanted to collaborate with Robert Bloch, and he was doing Dangerous Visions, and so the two of them got together. He got Robert Bloch to write A Toy for Juliette, and then Harlan Ellison wrote the next story in the book, The Prowler in the City at the Edge of the World, which kind of follows up on Robert Bloch's story.
All right, interesting.
But we're going to split them up and just talk about the Robert Bloch story tonight, and then our next Dangerous Visions one will be the Ellison follow-up, and we can look at how they go together.
I'm actually kind of excited about that because afterward, when I read the end of the story, I was like, oh, how does that work? And it's kind of funny now. But yeah, I'll get into the synopsis, and there's probably going to be spoilers.
Oh, there will be. We can't talk about this one without spoiling it.
We have to talk about this because it is actually extremely relevant to current events that have recently come up. So, it starts with this young woman, Juliette. She's into snuff. She likes to get off by killing people and torturing them and murdering them. And her grandfather provides her not only with instruments of torture from other times because he is a time traveler, but he also provides people who are sometimes they're of significance, sometimes they are not. And you
gotta know this is in the far future, and Grandpa is going in a time machine back to get
toys for Juliette, which are people. And so she basically has sex with them and murders them either in the midst of sex or during, after, whatever, through a series of basically BDSM into snuff. So it's real kinky shit. And Grandpa brings back another toy for her, and she's all excited, anticipating this, getting really, pumped for it, and then she decides, I'm not gonna do anything fancy, I'm just gonna stab him to death. At climax, basically. And so, finally, Grandpa has decontaminated the toy for her, which is basically making sure there's no germs, cleaning them, essentially. And then sends him into Juliette's room, and when she's about to go reach for the knife, she realizes he's already got it, and he's Jack the Ripper. So, she gets moited instead.
Yeah.
In a twist of irony. And I already knew this was going to be pretty messed up because she was already talking torture stuff, but then she went ahead and said, and it hadn't mentioned anything about sex yet, but then she called the Marquis de Sade a philosopher, and then I knew shit was going down for sure. I'm like, oh, this is some kinky things. So yeah, that is the entire story of A Toy for Juliette.
Yeah, it's extremely short, and it doesn't get into explicit description.
Yeah, it's actually very vague.
Yeah, so it's not all that
it's disturbing in concept, but not in detail.
Yeah, and the fact that Bloch had already written Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper way back in the 40s, I'm questioning it, and maybe Ellison's follow-up takes it farther, but I'm questioning the inclusion of this as a dangerous vision.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous in the taboo.
A difficult subject, but nothing that Bloch hadn't written about before. I mean, he wrote Psycho.
Yeah.
in like 1954 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He had already written Psycho, that the Alfred Hitchcock movie is based on. He's already written about Jack the Ripper. He's already kind of covered this ground.
Yeah.
And maybe the fact of the young girl having sex and killing him is maybe taking it a step further. Yeah, because
we don't exactly get an age.
Yeah. But I don't think this story really crosses that line to become a dangerous vision.
No, I think it's just a sick person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think it's a dangerous vision. I don't think it presented anything to me.
If he would have been more graphic in his descriptions, yeah, then it would have gone there. But he wasn't. He held way back on that.
Yeah, and I feel... I mean, considering Marquis de Sade, philosopher, was kind of a dangerous vision.
Yeah, but just mentioning that's not a big deal.
Yeah, like, it's okay, to each their own, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I felt like there wasn't a lot of... It was just taboo. It wasn't really dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen the pictures of Jack the Ripper's last victim,
mm-hmm.
there are actual photographs of the crime scene that you can find online. The story could have gone a lot farther.
Yes, it could have. But yeah, I didn't feel like this was a particularly dangerous vision. I'm kind of interested to see, like you said, what the other story does with it to make it, maybe it puts more of a twist in there or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the reason this is so interesting that we had to spoil it and talk about Jack the Ripper is because now they have actually identified Jack the Ripper. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of like, they never found Jack the Ripper was one of the final lines in the story, and now they have actually identified him.
There's lots of stories in books, particularly by Robert Bloch. He wrote Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper. He wrote A Toy for Juliette. He wrote Night of the Ripper, and all these are based on the legends of Jack the Ripper. Mm-hmm. And now all those legends are pretty much mythology because we know who really did it.
Yeah.
We actually they found genetic evidence, and they trace that to a barber. Go figure.
Oh, Demon Barber of Fleet Street?
Yeah. And they actually have the guy's name. So mystery is solved, and that really
kind of takes the wind out of the sails of some of these.
Takes away a lot of these Jack the Ripper stories. I mean, another one was Time After Time, the movie. Mm-hmm. That is where Jack the Ripper steals H.G. Wells' time machine and goes to 1979, and H.G. Wells then pursues him.
Yeah.
Very, very good movie, but now the revelation of what really happened kind of takes the wind out of that one, too.
Yeah. I think it was an interesting concept. And, what was it called? I looked it up. I actually looked up the term for what this girl, the psychological disorder this girl has. Come on. It's layman's terms is called lust murder. But getting
off on people?
Erotophonophilia.
Oh boy, say that 4 times.
Erotophonophilia. I think I've said that right. Anyway. But yeah, it's kind of funny because they also kind of wondered if Jack the Ripper was the same. Mm. So it's kind of a bit of an irony, I think, in the story. I wouldn't call this a top tale. I almost feel like it was too short, less graphic than I expected it to be once it started getting into things.
And not dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Not very dangerous.
Yeah, kind of
but it's kind of
from it.
Interesting because they take unsolved disappearances of people and stuff, and it's actually her grandfather who's done most of them. I thought that was kind of an interesting way to play with that concept of this time traveler is the reason, the Mary Celeste and all that, or Marie Celeste, however you say it, everybody, the whole team was gone and they were all given as toys to Juliette, or Jack the Ripper at the end being one of them, except no, but, and the disappearance of a particular ambassador.
Okay.
And I can't remember his name, was in that story too. But yeah, like, just these disappearances that were historically significant, and she's going back and kind of, like, looking at the work of, yeah, I'm the reason they disappeared, kind of thing. So she's real full of herself. Real self-righteous. No, I just think she's a psychopath, yeah. I didn't find anything very dangerous about this one.
No. I enjoyed the story. I thought it was a good story, but it's not a great story.
Yeah. I thought the concept was interesting. If taken further, I think it could have been way more interesting, but it will be.
Now we gotta read the Harlan Ellison story to find out if Harlan Ellison did take it further.
Yeah.
I think that was the whole concept, is for Robert Bloch to kind of create this situation, and then Ellison would run with it.
Yeah. And so... Yeah, and, well, there's some other things, too, that are interesting, because they only mention, in their part of the future, there's only about 3,000 people still alive. So Jack the Ripper does not have a lot of women to pull from. When you're thinking about it. Like, what? And then, you know, like, all the disappearances historically and all that kind of stuff. So I'm interested to see what he becomes and what happens. And if everybody's just as fucked up as Juliette in this... Because if there's only 3,000 people left of humanity, I mean, it's kind of fair game, martial law, anything could go. You never know. Yeah. So...
But as a short story, it's very well crafted.
Yes.
You know, it is what a short story should be. You get in, get out right away, throw a twist ending at people, and leave them a little bit shocked.
Which I think is very fun.
Yeah. And of course, we read it in the new edition of Dangerous Visions that was published by... What's the publisher?
No.
I can't remember.
Blackstone
Publishing.
I'm trying to stay on top of all these publishers.
I know, there's a million of them.
I know.
Blackstone Publishing reprinted Dangerous Visions just last year in hardcover and trade paperback. Very good editions. Nice illustration. Could be better, but still nice. And of course, you can search down the original editions of Dangerous Vision and hardcover, book club editions, paperback, trade paperback, all kinds of stuff that's been done in the past. And of course, ebooks. It's available in ebook. And read this story and all the others we've been doing. And like I said, the next story in Dangerous Visions is Harlan Ellison's own follow-up, The Prowler in the City at the Edge of the World. I love that title. We'll see if the story lives up to it. I think that's just a brilliant title, just the way it's put together. He had a knack for titles for stories. Yeah. And
it's like those animes. Some of the animes now have titles that are so long.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Well, sometimes Ellison made them long, sometimes they were short, but they were always really well worded. So that just the title is interesting.
Yeah. Or early 2000s Panic at the Disco song titles.
Yeah.
I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. You know, just really long. Yeah. I feel like some of these are coming up with really long titles, so I find that fun. But yeah.
So that's all I can say about it. I think it's worth looking into. The rest of the book so far has been even better than Toy for Juliette, so worth picking up Dangerous Visions so far.
Absolutely.
We're what, about a quarter of the way through it?
Goodness. About.
So we
got a long way to go. But still.
So, I guess, have you ever read Dangerous Visions and A Toy for Juliette? Leave your comments on the end of the video. We're interested to hear what you think of the story. And come on back for Prowler in the City at the Edge of the World.
Which is its complimentary story. So.
And definitely like us. Definitely subscribe to us. Keep coming back for more. We got lots of other stuff to do.
We got so much. And I'm so excited for some of the stuff we have coming down the line for this. So really, really excited to share it with you guys.
And H.G. Wells. I've been getting a lot of views on H.G. Wells videos lately. And I'm just at the beginning of his stuff. I got tons more to come.
Yeah. So we have a lot of great things coming down the line, so stay tuned for those. So like, subscribe, and we will see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.